Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan, I'm your host. And today, guys, we are going to be talking about the construction triad. And what is exactly the construction triad? Well, I'm glad you asked because that's what we're going to talk about today. The construction triad is, you might have seen it as price, schedule, and quality, or price, schedule, and something else, right? And the one that I'm going to define it for here today is price, schedule, and experience. And the reason that I'm going to wrap it as experience is because experience it's a big bucketed term of everything else. So I'm trying to use the biggest, highest level thing that goes into it to make sure that we encompass everything. And so what I want to talk about, obviously, price is the price. And a lot of these things are going to reflect price. Same with schedule, right? If it's a longer schedule, you have fewer guys on it, it's going to be a lower dollar value versus if you had more guys and moved up the schedule, right? We have all these trade-offs that we make in construction. And experience is going to be um, the owner experience, right? The customer experience, the quality of materials that you use, the quality of your labor, the guys that you have on there. Are they well trained, or are they all apprentices? Um, are you using good materials or something that will just get by? Are you easy to work with? Do you communicate well? These are things that basically all float up into the big bucket of experience of how it is to work with you. And all of these things can be broken down, right? Do you answer your phone? Do you call people back? Do you give them good answers? Are you thorough in your explanations of things, right? Do you help educate and inform the customer? These are all things that really roll up into having a good experience, being good to work with, being a good dude, right? All these things roll up into this bigger term that I'm going to use and call experience, right? How is it to work with you in your firm versus anybody else? And this experience thing, honestly, will overcome a lot of pricing. It'll overcome really a lot of things. Now, schedule is one of those things that really you can't move too much, or isn't going to push one way or another. So when it comes to schedule, that's really where the schedule is what it is, whatever's dictated by the owner, whatever they need to get done, basically, and have that building open for whatever timelines that they're needing to meet. Then price is reflective of that, right? What's the schedule you want to meet? What's the price that you need to hold? Um, there we go, right? It becomes pretty simple at that point. So, in the triad of price, schedule, and experience, usually you say pick two, right? You can have the price you want and the schedule you want, but we're going to now use lower quality materials. We're going to use lower quality people. And honestly, the thing that gets you fired from more jobs than anything else in construction and makes people not want to work with you is your experience. That is the biggest differentiator you have in this industry, is the ability to do the job well, communicate well, explain things well for people, and they want to have you back. So if there's a 1-2% price discrepancy, it's probably not going to be that big a deal in the terms of the owners or the GC's eyes and who's going to bat for you, basically, because they know it's going to be much easier to work with you. If anything happens, you're going to be able to resolve it instead of it being a knockdown, drag out fight, right? All of these things are going to be much easier to overcome when you have a good experience. So if you're going to basically shift anything, the thing I would recommend against, and mainly because it's the thing that's won us more jobs than anything else, is our experience, right? The way that we communicate with folks, the way that we get back to them, the way that we solve problems. That's been our saving grace. That's the reason why folks want to work with us more than anything else, is because we give them a good experience. We're there for them to solve their problems. Period. Full stop. So schedule can, maybe move a little bit, or um you work through what you can give up to meet all the demands, right? But you have kind of a lot of arrows in your quiver, if you will, from a price schedule experience standpoint. You can drag things out longer, you can put fewer people on it. But the work is the work. The work's going to need to get done. So schedule and price are really going to be your two biggest needle movers. And then materials is going to be the third. But the work is always going to be the work. The work's going to need to be done. It's going to need doing. And from like an engineering and architecture standpoint, the walls still need to get drawn. The beams still need to get calculated. The outlets still need to get placed. Now, if you're using a cheaper outlet or a cheaper piece of material, then that's on the material side, but the time it takes to draw and calculate that is no different from the engineering standpoint. It takes the same amount of time to spec a cheap product as it does an expensive product. So you're not going to really save much on the engineering side of things, because again, to write one name down versus another really makes no difference from a time aspect. It does make a difference in the price and cost of a project. But these are the three biggest things that I really want to talk about. And these are three things that you have a lot of control over. And what allows us to win projects is getting back to people quickly, providing good proposals. And a lot of this goes into, do you have templates? Do you have proposal sheets and templates that people can use to quickly generate proposals? Do you have good pricing outlined and how you're going to price things? Are you able to put all of that together quickly and get it turned around to them so that you're not missing out opportunities, bid dates, all that kind of thing? Are you able to pick up the phone and have those conversations to walk through scope to make sure that you're addressing things properly? So these are all kind of little items, if you will, that really rack up to having and getting recurring long-term clients. Again, there's been a number of contractors that have called us and clients that have called us. And the reason that we're able to win engineering work, the reason that we're able to engage with them and do projects with them is simply because we were easy to work with. We were flexible in how we were going to do things and able to meet their timeline. We're in basically a concierge business, right? In that, we're here to help and serve you to meet your needs and help you do things the way they need to be done. So at the end of the day, this is all about helping you guys win more projects, do more work, and really make this whole industry better. The more people can have good experiences, work with good people, do good things, the better off everybody's going to be. So this is really just to hammer home the big things that owners care about are, depending on the owners, right? You deal with more developers, they're going to be all price and schedule driven, right? ROI and money is how they speak. They rule by spreadsheet. So experience is not going to be as big a thing for them, but the general contractors that you work with on those projects that might be GCs on other projects that you work on non-developer projects might be, have a bad experience, and that travels over to other projects and infect that thing. So you can't always rule by spreadsheet for the developer projects, that because they rule by spreadsheet, but it's understanding the demands of the owner, and then those get forced down through the general contractor to all the specialty contractors and trades. So from there, you got to look at what can you give up? Is there anything that you're going to give up, or is that even a project type that you want to go after? So at the end of the day, the more data and information that you can have around price, schedule, and making that really easy for both your internal people and then for ultimately your clients to understand is super impactful. So the more and more that I go down this, I try to boil it down to just a few items that really matter. And so the more data that you can pull, the more historical context that you can provide to allow people to see a single price, a schedule for what this type of building would take, given the dollar value and numbers. Here's previous projects and their schedules that actually took place, right? Real data, not estimates, but this is what actually happened on this project. This is how long it actually took. This is the actual cost of it. And then we're going to extrapolate that data to your project today adding in our contingency values and additional numbers to cover ourselves, right? But this is ultimately what we're looking at and striving for, is to give owners very clear, concise, simple answers to a very, very complex problem. So at the end of the day, boil it down as simple as you can, knowing that price, schedule, and experience are your three biggest items to look at and help clients choose you at the end of the day, right? You got to be competitive on pricing. You got to have good turnarounds for schedules, and you got to do good work at the end of the day. So, guys, that's going to be this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Thank you all so much for listening, and until next time.